All right, let's get right into it. The digital SAT has this secret weapon that's, believe it or not, hiding in plain sight. We are talking about the built-in Desmos calculator. So today, we're not just going to talk about how to use it, we're going to show you how to turn this thing into your single biggest advantage on test day. And hey, don't just take my word for it. SAT expert Reese Horton calls it absurdly powerful. That's a pretty bold claim, right? But honestly, as you're about to see, it's totally justified. This thing isn't just a nice little feature, it is an absolute game changer. So just how big of a game changer are we talking about here? Well, if you really get the hang of this tool, you can knock out 15 to 20 problems across both math modules. I mean, think about that. That's a huge chunk of the test where you can save time, dodge those silly mistakes, and really save your brain power for the questions that are actually tough. So let's really break down this secret weapon. Before we get into all the cool tricks, you gotta understand what makes this calculator so different. This is not your old TI-84 from high school, okay? It goes way, way beyond just crunching numbers. So here's the deal. It's built right into the test. It's there for you on every single math question. And the key, the real magic, is its power to instantly graph and let you see the math. This turns these, abstract algebra problems into actual visual puzzles that you can often solve just by looking at them. All right, let's start with what I like to call the basic superpowers. These are the core functions that will let you just blaze through some of the most common types of questions on the SAT, and a lot of times you can do it in seconds. You know the SAT loves to throw systems of equations at you. Well, Desmos just eats them for breakfast. I mean, forget substitution, forget elimination. You just type in both equations and bam, the calculator highlights the exact point where they cross. That point is the answer. It's fast, it's simple, and it's right every single time. And here's another one, finding the vertex of a parabola. Now, doing this by hand can be a real pain, right? You've got formulas, completing the square. With Desmos, you just type in the equation. That's it. It automatically marks the minimum or maximum point for you. The answer is just there, waiting for you. Absolute value equations can be super tricky because you always have to remember, I have to handle the positive case and the negative case. But with Desmos, all that guesswork goes right out the window. You just graph it, and it shows you exactly where the lines cross the x-axis. Those are your solutions. Done. Okay, so you've seen the basics. You're feeling good. Now let's level up with some pro-level tricks. These are the techniques that can crack some of the really complex problems and will seriously separate you from the rest of the pack. First up, regression. So, you know those questions where the SAT gives you a table of data points and asks for the line of best fit? Trying to do that by hand is a nightmare. But with Desmos, it's basically an automated process. Seriously, it's just 3 simple steps. First, you hit the little plus sign to create a table, and you just pop in your data points. Second, you type in this little bit of magic. Y1, then a tilde, that's the little squiggly line, then mx1 plus b. That tilde tells Desmos, hey, find the best fit for me. And just like that, Desmos does all the heavy lifting for you. It draws the line, and more importantly, it spits out the exact numbers you need. The slope m and the y-intercept b are just sitting there. It is practically handing you the answer on a silver platter. Okay, this next pro trick is one of my favorites, using sliders. This is for those really tricky problems where there's some unknown constant in the equation, like a k or an a, and you have to figure out what its value is. So a classic SAT question might ask for the value of a constant that gives a system of equations no solution. Now, what does no solution mean? It just means the lines are parallel, right? So you type in the equations, you add a slider for that unknown letter, and then you just drag the slider with your mouse until the lines look perfectly parallel. Whatever number the slider lands on, that's your answer. It's like playing a little video game to solve the problem. But here's where our story takes a little twist. Because this secret weapon, as powerful as it is, can also be a trap if you're not careful. So you really have to ask yourself, could this amazing tool actually hurt my score? And the answer, maybe surprisingly, is yes. If you over-rely on it, you can find yourself going down a rabbit hole and just wasting precious minutes. There's a name for this, actually. Researchers call it the calculational mindset. It's when you get so tunnel-visioned on how to force a problem into the calculator that you completely miss a much faster, much more elegant solution that might not even need a calculator at all. So the key is to shift from that calculational mindset to a strategic mindset. Instead of asking, how can I type this in, you need to be asking, what is the fastest way to get the answer? Sometimes, yeah, that's Desmos, but other times, it's a quick bit of algebra or just plain old logic. Knowing when to do which, that's what separates good scores from the great ones.
So to help you build that strategic sense, here's a simple green light list. For these types of problems, Desmos is almost always your best bet. Solving systems of equations, finding a vertex, graphing a circle, finding the mean, these are total slam dunks for the calculator. Go for it every time.
And now, the red light list. For these, you really need to think twice. Trying to check for equivalent expressions can be really slow to type in. And that last point is critical. The last few problems of the second module are often designed as traps. The test makers know you'll reach for the calculator, but there's almost always a faster, more conceptual way to solve it. So this all brings us to the main point. It's not about just using Desmos. It's about wielding it wisely. It's a powerful tool, sure, but like any tool, its true power depends entirely on the person using it. And this is really the ultimate takeaway here. You should think of Desmos as a resource management tool. Every single problem you solve quickly with it buys you more time and, more importantly, more mental energy for the truly hard questions later on, the ones Desmos can't help you with, the ones that require your full brain power. And that leaves you with one final question to think about. On test day, are you going to be just a calculator operator, blindly plugging in numbers? Or are you going to be a strategic problem solver who knows exactly which tool to use and when to use it to conquer this exam? The choice is yours.